The views and opinions expressed by the guests, callers, and hosts on this and all Rense Radio Network programs do not necessarily reflect or agree with those of the network, its commercial sponsors, its radio station affiliates, or internet broadcast platforms. In these controversial times, we believe the First Amendment and freedom of the press are absolutely essential to the survival of our nation. Thank you. And now, enjoy the program.
Hey, let's get going. It is the 21st of June, Thursday. The third Thursday, one more to go, and June is gone, and 2012 is halfway over. Gerald Celente is with us tonight, this first hour. He is a very busy man, and glad to have him on board at any time. Let me do a couple quick things here, and then we'll bring Gerald on. Just for your edification, the dumbing down of Americans is getting to be so blatantly successful, it's almost obscene. All right, here's a quickie for you. The scores of the American citizenship test, taken by 1,000 U.S. citizens. Newsweek gave 1,000 citizens the actual test that it's a basic bare-bones test about this country. 29% couldn't name the vice president. 30%, let's round it up, couldn't name Joe Biden. That's not good. 73% couldn't correctly say why we fought the Cold War, what that was all about. 44% were unable to define the Bill of Rights. And 6% couldn't even circle Independence Day on a calendar. Pretty grim. Moody's today, on the other side of that coin, no pun intended, downgraded 15 of the world's biggest banks. So it's about time is all I can say. 15 of these financial institutions were put on a lower tier by Moody's, including Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, and Jamie P. Morgan. Now, that said, let me remind you, the current issue of Gerald Celente's brilliant Trends Journal is out, and to quote from the front cover, he says, in this issue, we spell out how America has become a full-fledged police state. Indeed it has. This conclusion is based on recently passed laws, executive orders, which of course are completely unconstitutional, guidelines from the Attorney General, so-called, and Supreme Court rulings. Hard facts, not hysteria nor imagination. This is not Chicken Little, the sky is falling, alarmism. The sky has fallen on America's freedoms. And I just can't tell it any straighter than that, and there it is. It's in the new Trends Journal. You've heard it on the program, and Gerald's been with us tonight. How are you, my friend? What's new?
What's new? I told you I bought a 1750s house.
Yeah.
And what's new is that we're going to launch the Second American Revolution.
I'm ready.
And this one's not going to be of bombs and, or they didn't have bombs then, of bullets and armies, but it's going to be of mind and heart, mind and spirit. And if we don't fight now, we're doomed. I mean, you read that poll about people not knowing about the Declaration of Independence. Why should they? There isn't any. It's been raped from us. There's no independence.
It's a good summation.
Look what's going on. You read about the woman in Tulsa who had diabetes and she's growing herbs and healthy food to treat herself, and the Gestapo come in and rip up a garden. Nothing new about that. They do it all the time.
Yeah.
And we get molested every time we go to the airport, and that's why we have the cover of the Trends Journal the way it is. A bunch of slovenly dressed, overweight Americans with, wearing a I Love Bieber cap, and a woman carrying a Kardashian bag, and another guy wearing a World Wrestling Federation shirt, all getting on board the Auschwitz Express.
And, of course, there's the ever-present butt crack, the low pants hanging down to someone's mid-thigh, big fat guy. Yeah, this is the ugly American, if there ever was one.
Well, last night, it's a beautiful night out last night. I went down near the Hudson River, one of the restaurants down there, and I sat outside. Most people were inside. It was too warm for them. God forbid it should be a little warm outside to sit outside on a beautiful night. And I'm watching the people go by, What a freak show.
Oh,
My
yeah.
God. I didn't see, out of all the people I saw, maybe 3 or 4 attractively dressed and attractive looking people.
Mm-hmm.
What has happened to the pride, the dignity, the self-respect, and integrity of people?
Well,
I don't know how they could look in the mirror.
Well, most of them do, and they see an idealized picture, some Photoshop picture, superimposed upon their own ugly visage. It's sad. There is such denial out there, Gerald. You just said the key words. Integrity is gone. Integrity is not taught in schools. It is not really instilled in our young people in their homes. Parents have failed. Anyone under the age of 45 now is essentially brain dead, with this audience accepted and your readership accepted. There are some wonderful Americans out there, but that's
the ones that we're going to unite with.
Well, I like
the wonderful
that.
Americans that care about this country. And I told you I came back from Berlin,
mm-hmm.
and this is what changed my mind. I was ready to leave here. And when I saw this great nation destroyed, I mean, to me, looking at Berlin with the grand buildings pre-World War II, it was not far superior, but much grander than Paris, with the wide boulevards and triple-wide sidewalks.
Did you see the Albert Speer and the other architects' renditions of what they were going to make Berlin into? From an aesthetic standpoint, you can see that. There was actually a traveling exhibit in Germany. The plans for Berlin were so magnificent, they had to be put away and hidden because, we can't have the German people coming up with anything good out of the World War II era. But, it was an amazing scene. Amazing.
Yeah, so you say these are the Germans. Einstein, Bach, Beethoven, Goethe, Wagner. How could they let a two-bit freak destroy their country?
Yeah.
And the same thing, us being Italian, not for nothing, Da Vinci, Puccini, Rossini, Michelangelo, Galileo. How could they let a two-bit freak like Mussolini destroy their country?
How could we let a two-bit Oreo cookie like this Marxist creep in the White House destroy our country with how many executive orders that are utterly unconstitutional? 250, 300, I don't know. Who's counting?
And how about Bush and Cheney? You want to see a two-bit freaks? There's two-bit freaks.
Go back to the Clintons, too. Let's not forget that.
Add up the Clintons. Exactly. I mean, you watch Hillary Clinton out there now. You say, my God, this stuff, Shakespeare couldn't have come up with a better one than this one.
Couldn't have. No. I agree.
And so what is it in the human spirit that allows two-bit freaks to destroy them?
It's called the mainstream media, as we all know.
No, it goes back far. It goes way back.
How far?
Well, again, you could go back to World War One.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to the World Wars.
Let's go back to the Federal Reserve, right? 1913. That was the beginning of the end.
Yep. So it's not the media. It's greater than that. It's the human spirit to me. And so what this revolution's going to be about is a renaissance, a rebirth of greatness. And so that's what we're going to be launching, and I'm very excited about it. And I'm going to do my best to reverse this trend.
Well, I will do everything I can to help you. That goes without saying. I would love to see some little things like putting music history and music appreciation back in schools, the arts for children, get them away from this crass Adidas mindset, this sports at all costs. The little girls dressing like whores at 10 and 12 years of age. They didn't come up with that money on their own. They don't work. They didn't buy those little prostitute outfits. Their parents did. So this is a big chore, Gerald, to wake up people who are in their 30s and 40s who are allowing and aiding and abetting the destruction of the next generation by buying them cell phones when they're 8 and 9 years old. Sheryl Crow has a cell phone tumor. Nobody's talking about it.
Well, I don't own a cell phone, by the way. I have one. I have an emergency one in my car, and that's it. I don't have one.
That's about all they're good for. The average teenager texts 4,400 times a month, and that was a year ago. God knows what it is now. Oh, did you see the story in San Diego where, and they're trying to blame the teacher on this, I have my doubts, 9 boys in the classroom were caught masturbating in the classroom, watching porn on their iPhones or their Android phones. In class. There's where we are.
Yeah.
Now and the teacher said, "Well, my fault, not my fault." Makes you mad.
No, look, this is where America's going. There we have Nero in the fiddling away on the media.
And Kinsey, of course, was the godfather of the beginning of the end of morality in this country, and now the number one website, of course, of choice is porn. You got little kids 8 and 9 years old looking at this, Gerald, and as you well know, folks, once a little mind goes there, it can never go back. It has been forever changed. And that's a tragedy to me, the end of childhood. Be right back with Gerald Celente. The new issue of the Trends Journal is out now. We urge you to get it. It is terrific. Be right back. Okay, I'm back with all of you good people. Tell me more, Gerald, how you're going to start this revolution. I'm very interested in that.
Well,
please.
One of the things we're going to do is we're going to launch it from this beautiful 1750s house, and it's symbolic in the sense that it's on the most historic corner in the United States.
It's catty corner to your current building, isn't it?
Not catty corner, but it's just 2 buildings removed.
Uh-huh.
But it's on the most historic corner, where it's the only place where there's pre-revolutionary stone houses on each corner. And Kingston, New York, was the first capital of New York State. It was burnt down by the British. And there's a lot of history here. The Senate House, the Constitution moved through here to be signed. And I figured, if this is where it all began, in one sense, why not try to begin it again? And there are a lot of people that are fed up. And to start a movement to overthrow this gang of 535, that's how many senators and congressmen we have.
And 86% in the House were returned to the House in the last election too. So who do you look at to blame here? If we do it again, I guess we're in real trouble.
Well, that's one of the things that I'm pushing for, and that is a voters' strike. And that, stay at home and by not voting, you're voting them out. Because I believe if 40% or less of the people go to the polls, we could call this an illegitimate election. Because we have illegitimate candidates. It's a criminal operation.
It is.
They had today the Gallup poll. Obama has a 40% job approval rating, and I said, "What kind of job? Con job?" And that's all it is.
Yeah, and who are they polling? Forest Lawn? I mean, come on.
Yeah. And the other guy's a con, Romney, And so what we're doing is we're saying, let's vote by staying home. And what we need is a new system. The system is not working. It's failing at every level. I was just going on one of the news sites, and they said that none of the major networks reported today that the 2,000th soldier died in Afghanistan. I'm driving by. I'm coming home last night again, and I see this young man in a wheelchair with one leg, and a young guy, and he's a vet. And I'm saying to myself, what a criminal situation! This poor young man, giving his life ruined forever to putting these kids and adults actually into war for fake reasons, knowing that we're never going to win. To serve for what? To serve the needs of psychopaths? And this is criminality. This is immorality. Doesn't anyone care what we're doing to our people?
150,000 American boys and girls are going to commit suicide sooner or later after serving over there. And when they come back, they're half, of course, brain dead anyhow. They're on 24 different prescriptions. They've seen things that no human being should ever see. They have participated in things that no human being should ever participate in. We've killed 2 to 3 million Afghanis. We just recently took out another wedding party. I mean, who the hell are we?
I know. Not we, them.
That's right. That's right.
And so that's what the revolution's going to be about. Again, about mind and heart. And all now it is about, bullets, bombs, and banks.
Well, we always talk about winning the hearts and minds of the Iraqis or the Afghanis. You want to win the hearts and minds of Americans. I get it.
Yep. That's a radical thought, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so to bring democracy back to America, and again, by beginning by calling this election illegitimate, which it is. Look at the guys that ran, and I just saw that semblance of Porky Pig, Newt Gingrich, and going on and on about how Obama's turning America into a European country. European country, man. You ever been over there? If you ate some Italian food, you wouldn't look like you look now. Oh yeah, Europe with its beautiful, heritage, and you don't see malls anymore. Wouldn't that be nice if we started turning America into some of Europe? Wouldn't it be nice if we had health care that really was health care? Oh, wouldn't it be nice if we had trains that weren't right out of the beginning of the 20th century,
right,
and we had real mass transportation like Europe? Oh, what a shock that would be.
We have, of course, a culture here that is so depraved. It eats itself to oblivion. Young people, these kids, 13, 14, have arteries that are half blocked already. I saw a location yesterday that had a McDonald's on it for 20 years or something. And it had been razed to the ground. It was just dirt. And there was a big sign there, coming, a new McDonald's.
Great.
So they're building a bigger and better McDonald's. See, what we're seeing here, Gerald, as you know, and you probably covered it, but Walmart came in and destroyed Main Street. We talked about this. Walmart destroyed Main Street America, mom and pop businesses. It killed the majority of them. The big box Walmart. Now we've got the super Walmart, and then we have the Walmart Express to clean up any leftovers that might be hanging around. So it's the Walmartization of America, put together, of course, with the glue of what they call fast food establishments. The average American patronizes such an establishment 27 times a month. I mean, this is as depraved as it gets. The flavor of this country will soon be big corporate, plain vanilla wrapper. You talk about Europe. I've never been to Europe, Gerald, but my heritage is from Europe, and I see pictures like everyone else, and I see substance, I see texture, I see history, and that's why it really grieves me to have witnessed the banking cartel steamrolling of Europe into the EUSSR. They didn't need that. I can't believe those people gave up their identity like they did, but they did.
Well, you know what happened, actually, because I know I do go to Europe a lot, and I know many Europeans, particularly the older generation. What happened with them is that they were sold a con that if there was a European Union, there wouldn't be wars. That was the big selling point.
And they bought that?
They bought it. And again, you can't blame them in the sense that, within how many years was their country totally destroyed? Twice. All these countries. So,
and who financed it?
It was a good con job.
Who the hell financed it? The same people who plugged in the dream of the European Union. The same banking bastards.
Yep.
Every one of them. They financed both sides in both world wars and destroyed Europe twice and profited on blood. We are really in trouble. I'll roll out the red carpet, anything I can do to help you with this. Winning the hearts and minds of Americans. That's the goal. We've got to, first of all, wake them up and then help them relearn what it's like to be a freedom-loving citizen of this once great republic. Be right back with Gerald Celente, the Trends Journal. Click on Gerald's name, subscribe, and you'll be happy you did. I guarantee it. Okay, back with Gerald, who is here once a month. All right, my friend, what's up next?
Well, Europe with the euro crisis. You know, they had the big G20 meeting in Mexico, and of course, nothing came out of it.
Gosh,
there's no way out of this.
No.
But what they're going to do, I believe they're going to come up with another scheme undreamed of. They're not going to let this collapse. They're going to try to hold it together. I was a little bit. I called it that Bernanke was going to juice the economy again, so that Obama gets reelected. Go back to 1992.
Another QE.
When Bush Sr. was running, and Greenspan was Fed chairman, and they tried juicing the economy, but they were a couple of months too late, and Bill Clinton won. Of course, a lot of votes were taken away from Bush by Ross Perot. But nonetheless, I expected now to have some money-pumping scheme in place. Because when you look at all of the numbers, whether it's new filings for unemployment, housing sales just came in again, industrial production, you just keep going through the manufacturing, they're all negatives. And I would have thought they would have done more than this so-called Operation Twist that Bernanke put into place. Be that as it may, you're still seeing gold prices go down, and I'm in gold for the long term. I don't believe I don't give financial advice. I'm just saying what I believe. I still believe gold is golden because if the euro continues to go down, the dollar goes up. That's like the Lusitania sinking and then getting safe passage on the Titanic. When you look at our debt problems, they rival those of Europe. So I don't see any way out of this, but the only way out that I do see coming is what they've done before. It's history repeating itself with the crash of 1929, the Great Depression, currency wars, trade wars, World War.
Right. The
Panic of '08, Great Recession / Depression. There's depression in Spain, depression in Greece, depression in Italy, depression in Portugal, depression in Ireland. There's depressions all over, and it's a recession / depression over here. Currency wars are going on, trade wars are heating up, and now the next thing is going to be World War. They're already leading us there. Add them up. They're very simple. Syria, Yemen, Egypt, Tunisia, Bahrain. Then you go over to all the civil wars and civil unrest. I forgot Libya, that beautiful humanitarian mission that's up in flames. Then you look at all of the social unrest in Greece, in Spain, in Italy. It's bubbling over.
Well, they're in bread lines in Greece, as you know. Yeah.
Yep.
And we'll have bread lines here too, folks. It's coming.
Oh, in Greece, it's a tragedy. And again, then you say the people, again, going back to the two-bit freak story, the people get what they deserve. The Greeks just voted for more austerity measures.
Unbelievable. It's got to be a fix, or they're brain dead. Something's wrong.
They did it in Ireland, too.
They voted the same people in.
They voted to keep the euro going.
It just boggles my mind.
And again, the people look what the people vote for in this country. You could put, there's a line that I use, conservatives believe and liberals lie. These people that call themselves conservatives, they're really not. They say stupid things like, we got to kill all them Muslims before they kill us. We got to get them over there before they come over here. They actually believe that.
I know.
But then you talk to liberals and you say, Obama, man, this guy, signing off on these predator drone strikes, this is immoral and it's against international law.
He gets off on killing.
He's only doing what they're making him do it. And, he has to get reelected. And once he gets reelected, then he could really do what he said he's going to do because he won't have any pressure on him. They'll make an but listen, and rendition is still going on. Guantanamo's still there.
Right.
We have wireless wiretapping. We've just got the National Defense Authorization Act. People like me could get arrested, never hear from me again. No charges, no jury, no trial, no nothing. Well, his hands are tied.
That's right. No, it's the same old, and it just keeps going round and round. Yeah, Gerald who? Who was that guy? Gerald, I remember him. What happened
guy,
to him?
He's a pain in the neck.
In the next 5 years, they say 10, you cut it in half. They say in 10 years there'll be 30,000 drones flying over America. Let's cut it in half and say, realistically, there'll be 15,000 in 5 years at least. Every major urban area will hear the sound of a drone overhead. They will.
I know.
And now that cops they're drooling. They can't wait to get their hands on these things. They're going to fire rubber bullets, they say. BS. They're going to fire electromagnetic weapons. They'll be able to take people down and out if they want to. That's where we're going. Orwell wouldn't believe it.
I know. Oh, that's what we wrote in the Trends Journal, that Orwell would be shocked at the things that are going on now. And here's the thing, Jeff. Who are they?
That's right.
Who are these sick people that are telling us how we should live our lives? Who are they? If one of they came over here and to me face to face and tried to lay their line of jive on me, they have a problem on their hands. How could people tolerate this stuff? Where's their courage and dignity? All aboard. Next train to Auschwitz.
There it is.
Kiss those calories goodbye. You won't have to worry anymore, folks.
It's on the cover of the Trends Journal. It's right there. That is an amazing image. All right, we'll be right back with Gerald in just a couple minutes. Okay, back with Gerald. That commercial reminded me, we should touch on this idea of don't be victims, be self-reliant, put some food away, put some food and water away, folks. If you have a family and you haven't done that, shame on you. This thing could stop at any time. Not going to stop coast to coast, but could be a regional outing for the globalist creeps who shut everything down. You never know. Could be a natural disaster. When the trucks stop running, the shelves are empty, and you're not going to have anything to eat. It's real simple. Gerald's prepared. Many of you are prepared, but it is a hard fact that probably 1% of Americans are truly stocked and prepared with any meaningful food and water. It's ridiculous. Anyway.
Well, the other thing, again, people keep asking me, because I've been talking about gold for many years, and they're worried about, the prices declining the way they are. So I just want to reiterate again, I don't give financial advice. I'm in gold for the long haul. I don't. Where's there going to be solid growth anywhere in the world? You're looking again. Go around the world: China, Brazil, Australia. You name the country, it's all in decline. And it's a very simple formula. China sells most of its junk to Europe. We're number 2. If number 1 and number 2 aren't buying, they're not making stuff. Neither is Indonesia, Vietnam, and all the other slave labor countries. If they're not making stuff and we're not buying stuff, that means that Australia and Chile and Brazil and Bolivia and Canada and all those heavily producing natural resource countries aren't selling their stuff. So what you see is a downward spiral. And along with this downward spiral is also added into its social unrest. It's class warfare. The gap between the rich and the poor is the widest in the United States, for example, than any of the industrialized nations. And it's everywhere. Oh, and by the way, you have been receiving our Trends Journal and Trends Alerts for many, many years. Go back to February 14th, Valentine's Day, 2011. The headline read, Meet the old boss, same as the new boss. There is no revolution in Egypt. The military will continue to take over, and they're only conning the people. We said that there's going to be a so-called democracy. So there's no changes going on.
No.
What you have is a bunch of psychopaths. You name the country, they're in control. And I make it really clear, these are the same people usually that you hated in high school and college that wanted to be class president and head of the student council.
That's them. They've been trying to get even ever since. You are right.
Yeah, the suck-ups, the brown noses, the glad-handers, the insincere, the overly ambitious. We all know who they were. I mean, you can imagine Al Gore, right? You know. Oh, this is a true story. John Anthony West, who you know, has been my writing colleague now since 1983. He's famous for his work on the mystery of the Sphinx, proving that geological proof that the Sphinx, the weathering at the base of the Sphinx has happened by water, and it predates the Sahara Desert. There was a big special on NBC many years ago with Charlton Heston narrating it, the mystery of the Sphinx. Anyway, a friend of his was a schoolmate with Al Gore at a private school, and he said to his friend, "What was Al like?" And he said, Gore was the kind of guy, just when the bell rang and you were ready to jump out of your desk and get out of class, Gore would raise his hand and say, "Sir, you forgot to give us a homework assignment."
You're kidding.
He was that kind of guy, you know. And that's who these people are.
Yeah.
These are the Hillary Clintons. They're the Bill Clintons. They're the Barack Obamas. These are the brown noses and the suck-ups.
Well, and
they're the ones that are ruining our lives.
Indeed. And Gore grew up to be what? The guy who propositioned a female masseuse on the very afternoon he was in L.A. to get his Oscar for Best Documentary. And two other massage therapists came forward and said he had tried to hustle them as well with sex.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine how smooth the cat must be?
Yeah, all 260 pounds of lard. Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Here's another thing. We talk about blue bloods and the dynasties of the powered elite. That's not a cliche, folks. That's for real. Last century, without question, one of the most powerful people of the last century was Bernard Baruch. Now, he owned Winston Churchill. All right, he bailed him out twice. Churchill was his a word with a B, was his bitch. It's the name of a dog. They were both on Wall Street the day of the great crash in 1929. They knew. They all know. This is all in the family, folks.
Oh, yeah. You better believe it. Anybody thinks that they're going to get in the circle, they're kidding themselves. No, that's a closed group, and you're not invited. And that's the way it's going. And so what we're telling people now is that a lot of big things happen during the summer. As a trend forecaster, also during holidays when no one is watching.
Yeah, may I make one, Gerald, excuse me, I got to make one little point here and I'll get the hell out of the way. The All in the Family thing is not complete. You mentioned Gore. Jacob Schiff was one of the most powerful men of the last century period, even more powerful than Bernard Baruch, some say. Who did Al and Tipper Gore's daughter marry? Jacob Schiff's grandson. It's all in the family.
That's right. I forgot all about that.
I'm sorry for the interruption.
Yeah, no. I forgot what was I railing on about. We talk about the economy.
Well,
anyway,
talk about whatever you
Yankees?
Want. Those Yankees. How about them Mets?
I'm only kidding,
Yeah.
Oh, that's the other thing, too. You turn on the prostitute news tonight. All they had was this guy, this Penn State guy that, that was the main
Sandusky.
news.
Yeah,
that was the main news that went on most. And then the woman that was harassed on the bus up in New York. This was the news.
Most important story in the known universe.
Yep.
Period.
Yep. And nothing about the Dow today, crumbling 250 points. Nothing about what's going on around the world in Syria. Oh, and how about that propaganda about how Russia was sending Syria helicopters that made the news?
Right.
And of course, they really wasn't quite like that. There were 3 helicopters, and they were 1980, 1990 vintage, and they were in for repairs, and they were returning them. And how about also the propaganda that they had this great massacre over there, and now we're finding out the Syrian government didn't do it, and that
they didn't do either one of them. There were 2.
Right, and the BBC actually reported that they were conned. And so what the point of all of this is that they're going to, the summer. And you're in a summer state of mind. People, if they're not watching the news now, they don't watch it at all in the summer. So what they do in the summer is they pull off the big scams. And that's what we're saying. Stay abreast of the real news. Every day, by the way, we do trends in the news. It's part of the subscriptions of the Trends Journal. We do video every day. And what we're saying is whether it's your site, my site, and there are a lot of good guys out there and women who have great sites out there, get in touch with the real news. Oh, by the way, one of the best sites for hard news and factual reporting is, I know people are going to laugh when I say this, the World Socialist website, WSWS.
I just quoted a story from them last night. I couldn't agree more.
And if you get past the point at the end where if only the workers of the world were in charge, because it doesn't work like that either.
No.
Because people are corrupt at all levels.
But there's some good journalism there, just like in the Christian Science Monitor.
They have some of the best journalism I've ever read, hands down.
I agree.
Again, except for the end. I don't agree with their solutions, but their reporting is excellent. So this summer, there's going to be some big breaking news, and it's going to be distorted by the time the people figure out what's going to happen, so the big lie will be set in place. So be prepared. This is going to be the grasshopper and the ant summer. You better be the ant, because when the winter of discontent arrives, you better be prepared, because this thing is going down fast.
You can hear the wind whooshing by as it goes down. I'm still amazed at how quickly they were able to do it. But when you look back at the prepping through the media, I'll tell you, the first MTV music video I saw, I knew it was going to be addicting and set a whole trend, and it did. And when CNN was languishing, who did they hire to come in and revamp their news? One of the top producers at MTV. Forget journalism. Doesn't matter. It's all about substance. Not anymore. It's all about style and glitz.
And boy, they don't have
showbiz.
any style. They have no style. The whole thing is a disgrace. I'm watching. Every night I have to watch.
Well, you have
stuff.
to. It's your business.
Yeah. And I'm watching Diane Sawyer. Oh, it's going 110 degrees today. Oh, isn't that? Come on. What am I, 6 years old?
Did you see the YouTube video of her drunk and taking prescription pills on the set?
No.
Oh, I'll send it to you. I'll find it. I ran it. It's hilarious.
Oh, someday I'll tell you the story when I was on Good Morning America when Joan London was on. Oh, that was a happy day, too.
All right, well, we'll trade stories. I'll send you the video, Gerald. Thanks so much for being here, as always.
Hey, always great being on with you, Jeff. All the best.
All right, take care. All right. Gerald Celente, the Trends Journal. And by all means, go take a look. Sign up for it. There are very few publications really worthy of your time. this is one of them. This is at the top of the list. Gerald's analysis, as you know, has earned him worldwide respect and acclaim, and it is well deserved. All right, we'll pause on that note. Come right back with more. And by the way, the research is all available at trendsresearch.com. That's where you want to go find it. trendsresearch.com for the Trends Journal. Be right back.